Okay. Wait, I need to go to YouTube Studio. Wait, I am in YouTube Studio. What's going on here? YouTube Studio.
This is over live, so.
Okay. Yep. There we are. There's a wonderful picture of me. It's so annoying because whenever he starts going live, it grabs whatever thumbnail is the first frame, and it's usually me like a really, really terrible photo of me. It's very upsetting. Okay. Cool. All right. Let me add this to my Patreon, and then we can start.
I always get so weird when I have to just like talk while taking off my clothes. My hands get sweaty, and I'm like, what if I say?
If you need to take off your clothes because you're uncomfortable, I mean, I won't stop. It's like, sorry, this is very this is very uncomfortable for me. I just need to take my clothes off.
I just need to take my clothes off. I did a photo shoot for like a yoga line, and I was clothed the whole time, and I was like, I don't know what to do. She's like, can you close your legs? And I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I definitely, like, when I shoot something that's not porn, I have to consciously make sure that I'm not asking, like,
can you bend over and show me your butt, please?
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just like certain things that are very porno that like you wouldn't do for like a regular
like
shoot.
Touching your vagina.
Well, yes, that as well. That is definitely one of them. Okay, cool. All right, I'm actually going to text Brad really quickly and tell him to come a little later. Okay. Cool. Put this away. Were you taping my phone? You're going to keep that still, right?
That's the plan.
That's what the tape is for.
That's totally is what this is for. I'm not taping a screen. I got.
Sometimes he likes to do these movements, like track the people, and then everyone on YouTube yells at me.
Yeah, I'm not I do that anymore.
How dare you try to get creative?
Well, it's a setting in the camera that follows someone, which I think makes sense if you're moving around like walking, but when you're sitting and it follows you, like if you go this or that, the movements are so small that it's just annoying.
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah. So, my little Blue Shield insurance health plan over here.
I've never drank La Croix out of a mug before. I like it.
It's a new experience, isn't it?
Very nice.
Makes it. You should try putting it in a
Wait,
wine glass.
Should I have these on my head?
Yeah, awesome. So that you can hear me all the better, my dear.
Wonderful.
And hear yourself.
Oh my God, that's weird.
This is your first time on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, exciting.
Almost done. I mean,
Are you done taping my fucking phone?
Look, this is gap tape. It's perfectly safe.
Brand new iPhone, and he's taping it.
It's more on your cover.
We're judging a little bit.
We're judging a little bit. It's okay. I already cracked the screen. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Is Molly in a good place? Does she need to move over a little bit? Because you're like you're a little off of the. Do you see how like the mic's not right? There you go. I always find that I'm like the loudest person on the camera, and it's annoying.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna like end up knocking it in the middle of the thing, and it's gonna go flying. So everyone at Patreon, we're trying out some new cameras. You might notice a difference in quality. And Ernie's taped my iPhone to this crane thing, and it looks very dodgy.
It is a little dodgy.
It's super dodgy. If you sneeze, that thing will move.
No, I'm not
Don't you sneeze.
Don't sneeze. Oh, this is taped.
Seconds away.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I only need to do one commercial break because I think I only have 2 ads for Molly's episode.
Okay.
I'll check during the first commercial break just to be sure
Okay.
if I remember, which I probably won't.
Now your camera is a little too wide, because I can see your purse, I can see your.
Oh yeah, that's no bueno. Can you zoom in on that lens? Okay. Oh, sorry. I should probably actually be centered for you. Just zoom in right here. That's all we need to see.
Subscribers out.
Yeah, exactly.
She
I
has,
do.
better cleavage going on than me right now. I'm just like, oh,
Well, I got a push-up bra and dress on, so.
It looks great though.
Thank you. Just trying to keep people's attention.
Tactics.
Yeah. Listen to what I have to say about women and sex worker rights. Listen to me. I'm going to talk about feminism. Listen.
Okay. Now, no breathing, no sneezing.
Yes.
For me. Okay, we're good.
We good? Hello.
Okay, cool.
This is Holly.
Turn off all the unnecessary channels we're not using. Okay, cool.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
We are. This time is rolling too, right? Okay.
No. Oh, yes. Well, it is now. I mean, it's off.
By a few seconds, I think.
Well, a minute 35. But if a minute 35 is a few seconds to you, then, I don't know what to say.
Okay.
Okay, we good?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We actually have a lovely, quiet atmosphere for you guys today. This is the first podcast episode I'm doing after releasing my 4 episodes from the AVN show floor, which sounded great, but naturally was very loud because there was a lot of chatter in the background. And I have the lovely and the podcast virgin, Molly Stewart, on.
I'm so nervous.
She's so nervous. She shouldn't be though, because on her way up here, Molly had a little confidence boost in the nature of a stranger who just handed her his number in the lobby, which
I don't even know what you look like, Mike. I didn't really see you. I'm sorry, but I'll keep this and cherish it forever.
So this guy ran up to her in the elevator and handed her his number on a slip of paper saying, "You're gorgeous, call me." And she was so startled that she didn't really get a chance to see his face before the elevator doors closed.
He had dark hair. I watched him walk away. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
But we're also wondering about if this guy has some kind of slick method.
Because this is cut, right?
Yes.
It's not just ripped. I think he just carries around his name and number
On slips of paper.
and just gives them to people.
Yeah.
Just the blanket approach. Just if I give out enough of these,
Yeah.
maybe somebody will.
Yeah. I mean, it's a numbers game then,
Yeah,
which
it's
there's
more personal than Tinder.
That's true. You almost have to admire his ingenuity,
Yeah.
if that is the case, because yes, it's hard to meet people, especially these days, and having a collection of your number pre-written on slips, and also coming up to a girl and just giving her your number without really cornering her and forcing her to talk to you.
And then you leave so fast that she can't remember what you look like.
Right.
And so she's like, well, maybe I should text him because maybe he was cute. I don't remember.
Right.
He could have been a gremlin, but I have no idea. I need to know.
The secret is to just get away as quickly as you can before she has an opportunity to look at your face. But it's on one hand, it's kind of nice because it's he didn't barrage you. He didn't give, he didn't make you uncomfortable by, I said, cornering
I've had
you.
plenty of those, yeah.
Yeah, I know you have.
It was nice.
But on the other hand, it's also kind of
Weird.
It's weird because it's also weird with the idea that he possibly has several of these in his pocket and just hands it out throughout the day.
It was a little weird, Mike. I'm not going to lie, but it's okay. Props for effort.
So yeah, I can't decide if it's weird or it's cute or if it's just a sign of the times about how it's different these days, dating and trying to meet people.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people just don't really know how to talk to
Right.
each other
Yeah.
as much anymore, you know? So maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't talk to a lot of people, so.
Well, actually, you kind of do.
I kind of do.
Because you are a cam star.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
I mean, but that's also, it's one of those things also that's like online.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot different because there's not that face-to-face interaction most
Right.
of the time. Most of the guys that I talk to on a daily basis, I have no idea what they look like. I've never met them in person. And it's like, I feel like that's something that the internet brought around, is this like sense of anonymity, where it's like nobody really knows who you are or what you look like if you're on like that member side.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to find the confidence to talk to people that maybe you wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
Just out in public. So.
Yeah. Which is scary, but also endearing. It's scary because I feel like we are becoming more and more disconnected as a society, and more, face-to-face interactions becoming less common. But is it also because there's always people who have a hard time talking to other people, and there's always socially anxious guys and guys, that frankly have a really hard time meeting women, and
women that are the same way as well.
Yeah.
It's like some people just don't really have that confidence factor. Like, I can talk to anyone because I don't care. I'm just like, I know what I am. Like, I'm weird. I'm kind of overbearing. Like, so if you don't like me, like that's fine, but you're just gonna have to deal with it until I walk away.
Yeah. Well, you have the confidence to recognize that not everybody's going to like you, but obviously there will be people who love you, and we don't need the world to love us. We just need a few select.
Just need a few people.
Except for me. I really need the world to love me, which is why I have this show.
I do too. That's why I do porn.
Yeah, I guess so. So we're just liars. Please love us. Please love us. I don't know what camera to look at. Which camera? Love it. Oh, that one. Love me. Please love me. Ernie's still fucking with the wide, taping my phone to, oh God, that thing's going to come back with so much shit on it. Sorry guys, we're trying out new camera equipment today. So you should notice a higher quality of video if you are watching this on YouTube, but it's got its kinks that we need to iron out. So Molly, let's talk about you. Yeah. How did you get started in camming? Because that's really where your whole career began.
Yeah. So I started camming, when I first started, right, I had no real job prospects. I was living out in California. I was, 20, just about to turn 21. I was working at Victoria's Secret. They kept cutting back all of my shifts. Like, I was completely freaking broke. I was almost about to get evicted from my apartment. I was thinking I was gonna have to move back home with my mom in Michigan and all this crazy stuff. And then, I also had joined the military, signed up for basic training.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't want to go back to Michigan, and
Right.
I thought, here's this outlet. I had a really good ASVAB score.
You are insanely fit, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And what kind of grade score did you have?
I'm sorry?
What kind of grade score did you just say you had?
An ASVAB.
Okay, I thought you said
it's
abs score, which I would agree with because your abs are spectacular, but I feel like that's not what you meant.
No, it's like a placement test, like SATs for the military.
Gotcha.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna do that, and then I needed to find some way to sustain myself, I guess, before I left for basic training. And then I was totally not torrenting movies because I couldn't afford to buy any.
Of course you weren't.
I got one of those little,
Nobody ever steals content. Those of us who work in the porn industry know that better than anybody.
I know, and it sounds so shitty of me now because I'm like, how dare you guys steal my porn?
Yeah.
Oh, but I used to steal movies.
Yeah.
But I had one of those little pop-ups like, oh my god, work from home, makes like $3,000 a month, and I was like, fuck, I was desperate. So I was just like, all right, well, I'll try it. I ended up starting on Flirt for free, but I was through a studio, which I knew nothing about it, but it was through a studio, so they took part of my cut. But I also worked from home. I didn't work from a studio, so I was only making 25% of tips. But even with that, the first 2 weeks that I cammed, I made $2,500.
Wow.
Even with the cut. And so then I met some members who told me about my free cams, which is where I started after that. They have much better percentages and more interactive member base and stuff like that. So that's how I started that. I actually went into basic training, got my leg broken in
Really?
in basic training. So
How did that happen?
Oh, it's a long story.
You don't have to tell it.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
rather not.
All right. We won't go there.
But anyway, so I had the choice to basically stay in med hold and continue like after I was healed or whatever, or I had the option to get out. So I chose to get out. I was making more money with camming at that point anyway. So, and from there, I just I started sticking to a schedule, and I cammed a lot. Like I'm talking like 10 to 12-hour days, like every single day almost, because I just wanted to really, when I do something, I like to put absolutely everything that I have into it. Like I'm just a very like focus-oriented person. Like I just like to get things done, and I feel like if I'm gonna do something, I should put everything I have into it. So I started getting just like more regulars and, you know, building up through things. And it was just a really great experience because I got to set my own schedule. I got to be creative and weird. Like I was homeschooled through all of junior high and high school, and I was a weirdo. Like I had no friends. I'm still a weirdo, but people on cam liked me despite the fact that like so many other people never had throughout my life. And it wasn't just because like, oh, I was getting naked and doing cum shows or whatever. Like I had a big group of people who we would just hang out and talk. I knew like about their lives. Like I knew what jobs they had. We would have real conversations and just be weird.
Do you
And
think that they felt they could relate to you because maybe, you know, we were talking earlier about often, I think a lot of people who do frequent campsites, and obviously it doesn't apply to everybody, but, you know, like they may have some social anxiety or, you know, not have a lot of experience with women. And you said that you know, seem to not be as social having been homeschooled and that kind of stuff. So do you think that like they could,
I think that
they felt like they could relate to you?
Yeah, I think there definitely was that, especially when I first started camming. I wouldn't say that I didn't have any confidence, but I also had no idea what I was doing, like, at all, because I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18. Like, my sexual experiences were pretty much nothing until my early 20s. And I think that I kind of, like, grew with a lot of these people on cam, like, as a person.
Yeah.
I have some members that I've known pretty much the entire time that I've been camming, which is... my 7-year camiversary was just on the 11th, so it's been 7 years. So some people I've known for literally at least 6, if not that whole amount of time.
Right.
So I think that just because I am weird and I try to be inclusive of everyone. Like I understand like people can't always give me money, they can't always tip, but if you're there and we can have a fun conversation or just like do weird things together on cam, that means more to me than like just having one guy who can just throw down and tip for everything and we don't really talk or do anything, because at that point it more feels like work than actually like having fun. And I mean, it is a job. I put a lot of effort into like, well, now more content creation, but even when I do cam, I try to make it a fun experience for everyone, because if I'm not having fun, they're not having fun.
Right.
And people go to cam to be entertained, you know, or to have some form of entertainment, and they can tell if you're not enjoying yourself,
right?
You know.
Yeah, no, fans definitely have that keen insight. So you were talking about how you were camming for 10 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lot about the cam world, and it does fascinate me. What are you doing that whole time?
A lot of the times it's literally just a lot of talking. Like I've had times before where I have basically just only gotten naked, and the rest of the time is just sitting there talking to people. I also play games. Like I have like this giant Jenga tower that's like this big, and I like color code them, and we play games like tipping games out of it. I've done baked goods raffles. Like they'll buy raffle tickets at the end of the month. Like I pick a winner and I bake them whatever they want and I mail it to them. I have a tip that people can do to come deny me for 24 hours where I'm not allowed to orgasm, and I have to wear an animal onesie and do weird dances like the YMCA.
Like just wait, but do they have access to you for 24 hours or?
No, it's an honor system, but,
okay,
but I don't do it. So.
Right. I believe you.
This guy's honor
I believe you. Speaking of 24 hours, I feel like I remember that for one of your anniversaries, didn't you do a 24-hour camming thing? And I think I remember seeing that on Twitter and thinking, this bitch is crazy.
Yep, I did that actually last year for my 6-year anniversary. I was on for 24 hours, and it was crazy. And it was fun because, like, part of the way through the day, I actually got my delivery from Brazzers where they gave me my Brazzers shoes. So I got to open that, and they, like, congratulated me on my anniversary of cam. And it was next to impossible. I drank so much Red Bull. Like, it got to a point where, like, halfway through the day, I didn't know what to do, and I felt like I was losing my mind. And I started just, like, cleaning my cam room. On cam naked. Like, that's just what I was doing, was cleaning. Like, I was, like, seeing all these dust particles in my room, and I was just like, guys, it's so dirty in here. I need to clean it. And I would, like, run and, like, go get cleaning supplies. And they're like, you need to stop cleaning your room. Like, you are being really strange right now. Like, are you okay? My friend came over, Cosmic Neko. I cam with her a lot. She's one of my best friends. And there was a big tip that they could do to pour a bucket of ice on me in the bathtub to wake me up. And that was the most horrible thing.
Oh, God.
That I had done that year.
Oh, my God.
It was so bad.
How many? Did you only have to do that once?
Only once.
Okay. Because someone had to pay a lot of money for that to happen to you. And only one person did it.
Yes.
And did you, like, sort of quasi-hate that person?
I mean, kind of, but it was a good tip, and it did wake me up.
Yeah,
like,
I bet it
so
did.
That was good.
I bet it did.
But I was just like, oh, my God, why did I even offer this? So stupid.
Well, I guess it's entertaining for people.
It is, yeah, and that's all what it is, you know. It's having fun. That's why, like, even things that are silly, like making me do weird dances, or I've had before people just start tipping for me to put on clothes. So I've had points where I'm wearing like 4 pairs of socks and gloves and like 5 hats and like a parka. And like and it's just weird. But as long as people are having fun and interacting, then that's all that really matters. It doesn't always have to be sexual.
Right. So you were camming for a while. You built up a big name from camming, and then we met through Playboy. So tell us about that transition from camming to Playboy to where you are now.
So for Playboy, people would always tell me on cam, like, I'm surprised that you don't, like, haven't been in any of the magazines or like any of that stuff. And I'm like, well, have you seen me? I don't belong in a magazine. Ew. And so they kept, like, my fans kept pushing me to, like, try it. And then I guess it was AVN of 2017. I was in Vegas a little early for AVN, and they had a Playboy casting call in Vegas. And so my fans told me about it, and they're like, you should just go. Just try to do it. And I was like, okay. So I went, and I just thought I totally botched it. Like, I was so weird because I had never, like, taken photos, like, with other people. It was always just me doing it. And I felt like it was so awkward. Yeah. Like, they're like, all right, now turn around and show your butt. And I'm like this. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting that call back. And then they called me back, and they're like, we want to shoot you. I was like, all right, so you would like to go bankrupt now? Okay, cool. Let's do this. And I first shot with Michael Valentino, and then they wanted me to be the Cyber Girl of the Month, which is where I met you. Yeah, and that was super, super fun. The house was crazy.
Yeah. Where did we shoot Did we shoot at the Mermaid House? Is that where that video that you posted to me is from? Because I can't remember the first one I did with you.
There was like the walkway out back that had all the flowers.
Yeah, the Mermaid House. The Mermaid House. It's a really popular shooting location in Topanga Canyon. It's beautiful there.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that place is great. Yeah, that was a really nice shoot.
Yeah, it was. And those breakfast burritos. Oh my God.
Yeah. I remember those. Did we get breakfast burritos?
Yeah, Rosalinda made them.
Oh, Rosalinda made them. Yeah. Oh, my makeup artist. Yeah. I remember when I first started working with her, she would always bring like treats to set. She doesn't do it anymore. That's fine.
I've gotten another burrito since then.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine, whatever.
It's fine, whatever. I know you have like a child and like a bunch of other shit to do, but what about my breakfast burrito? Jesus. You think you can just show up to work and just do your job and I'm going to pay you and not bring extra shit? Oh, Jesus. Rosalinda, I'm talking to you. I know you don't listen to this podcast. She's awesome.
Oh, she's great.
So then you were Cyber Girl of the Month, and then Twisties contacted me and wanted to know if you were interested in Girl.
Yeah, which ironically was right after I asked you if you thought they would be interested in me.
Yeah. Maybe I reached out to them first.
I'm not sure. It was like the AVN house party.
Okay.
In 2028.
Right.
Yes.
Well, like we were saying before, so Twisties, who's owned by MindGeek, used to run Playboy Plus before Playboy Enterprises took the website back under their wing. So the people at MindGeek/Twisties knew exactly who you were before. So I know that they were looking for girls, like popular girls from Playboy who might consider taking the next step to do girl because they like to get contract girls like early, you know, because there's value in somebody's like first girl or whatever.
Well, it's like I mentioned to you, I totally forgot. Then after I shot for Playboy Plus, Twisties actually reached out to me, but it was so long ago, like I forgot about it at the time. I was just camming all the time and making all my own stuff, and like they only wanted me to do like one scene, and I was like, it's not worth it to like fly all the way down to LA. Like,
right.
Sorry.
Yeah. But then, and then they offered you a contract, and I shot your first girl.
Yes. With Izzy Lush.
Yes, with Izzy Lush. And I remember it was tricky because we had to blow bubbles. And it was so windy. It was so windy. And they had all these shots where they wanted like the bubbles to like touch. Perfect. Yeah, and like touch your skin. I think she was supposed to blow I think she was or you were supposed to blow bubbles on the other girl's vagina. Yeah. And it was supposed to like be like this good. Really well, these writers they haven't necessarily practiced what they're writing. And so I think it was supposed to be this, and I can see the shot in my head, like you blow the bubbles, and it's like the slow mo, and it pops on the clitoris, and it's so beautiful. But it was so windy that it just went like.
And then at some point we're just like blowing bubble juice like on, and it's like this isn't.
And then the hairs in the face, and that didn't.
The scene came out super well though. Everybody really liked it.
Yeah, it did. And then and then the sun was going. God, I just remember a lot of logistical issues with that day, and I was like tripping because also too Twisties came to set that day, which they never do, and so I was like, and of course it was the day that like none of the shots that they wanted worked. I was like, fuck. But it was also good too because it was nice that they could see that like I was trying. Yeah, but
you're trying everything.
The
like,
weather.
You can't always control how these things come out.
I can't control the wind. I can't control the weather. I can't control when the sun comes down. Like I can't control those things. So it's just like. But anyways, they're a lot more relaxed. I don't even think they're more relaxed. I think I took everything way much to heart before because this is also too when they were shipped because you were the first. So when we made you Twisties Treat of the Month, you were the first girl in this new like vision that they had. So they flew me down to Montreal and they're like, okay, we have this new vision for Twisties. We're moving it in this direction. It's going to be girl only. We're going to put more money into production. Like we're going to have this whole like specific plan out where every treat of the month is only going to have one video and one photo set, but it's going to be different looks all intertwined. And so it was this whole new thing. So, I was very nervous about wanting to make sure that I like got what they wanted because I knew they were putting a lot of faith in me.
Yeah, the Treat of the Month shoot was awesome.
Yeah,
was so, cool.
So that was great, but there was also logistical difficulties there because they wanted you in latex, which is very expensive and not always easy to find and often needs to be custom made for people. So thankfully, shout out to Masumi Max and the latex store for coming through for me.
I bought that same dress.
Oh, yeah?
Because I liked it so much.
Yeah.
I bought it recently, and then they sent me a little red dress that's really pretty, like, for free.
Oh, and cool.
I've been wanting to, like, put it on and take photos in it, but it doesn't fit right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, latex is one of those things that either, like, fits you or it doesn't. That's why a lot of fetish models who wear a lot of latex, they have that stuff custom made, which is very expensive and takes a long time.
So cute too, and I'm just like, I need to change myself.
No, you could just get a different dress. But yeah, it's just one of those things where latex it's amazing when it's on, but it's tricky. Oh yeah. And it was very cold that day. You were freezing, but you were so great.
We made it work.
Yeah, you were a trooper about it. Speaking of difficult shoots, let's talk about yesterday. By the way, which was actually more like hilarious than difficult.
Oh my gosh.
So Twisties has this new series that they have me doing about like angel roommates in heaven. And Molly is the star. She's the new arrival. And she dies and wakes up in this like heaven roommate house. Would you like to tell everybody how you die?
Yeah. I died from masturbating? Well, technically, it was the cucumber allergy that killed me. But, you know.
So she masturbates with the cucumber, and somehow, how old are you?
I'm 28.
So through her 28 years of life, she's never eaten a cucumber. I had no idea that she had this deathly
And then I was just like, well, why don't I just put this in my vagina and see what happens? It sounds like a great
and
idea.
she dies. Clearly, this is like a funny, like campy skit.
Campy,
yeah, it's
fun.
Not meant to be serious.
Oh yeah.
So that when I read that, I was like, okay, I know what kind of movie this is gonna be, or a series. Actually, it's one of their first series. So now logistically, for me, it's tricky because everybody's wearing angel wings. Molly's the only one who's not wearing angel wings because she's actually fucking her way through the house to get her angel wings.
To the top. That's how it goes.
Exactly. You got to show that you can fuck a woman into her grave. Is that what that was one of the lines?
I have to prove to be good at fucking.
Yeah.
I think was in the plot summary.
And then it doesn't say like the plot, and then they bone in the bedroom.
Like, what am I boning with? Like, this is a lesbian site, right?
It was just funny because clearly it was like,
oh yeah,
as I was saying, like
hilarious.
written in a very campy, funny way.
Yeah.
But shooting girls with angel wings is tricky.
Oh yeah.
It is very tricky. And yesterday it was you and Abigail Mack, and that was easier because Abigail was the only one wearing angel wings. But the day before was with Demi Sutra and Desiree Dulce,
who both had wings.
So that was trickier.
It was, but we still made it work. I think it came out really well.
It came out amazing. And you and I have had experience with angel wings because we also shot another scene for Twisties
Lyra Law.
with Lyra Law.
Is it Lyra or Lyra?
Oh, don't get me started on name pronunciation
I don't
again.
Either. That's why I'm like, I'm probably saying it wrong. I love you, Lyra Lyra.
I think it's Lyra.
I think so too, but I'm confused.
So we have experience with shooting with angel wings. It's it can be tricky, but it ended up looking out great.
It did. It came out well.
And how was shooting with Abigail yesterday? Because I know that was your first time.
Oh my God. I've wanted to shoot with her for so long, and I love her. She's so weird, and I'm so weird, and it just worked out really well. But it's like the best kind because she's just obviously such a confident woman. Like, she's sexy, she's just pretty, and she's just so nice. Like, it was just a great experience. Like, it was just laughter like the whole day. It was great.
She's really great, and she's really authentic, and she actually genuinely cares about other people.
She eats pussy so well. Like, it's no hate, but like some girls, you can just tell that they're not into it. Like, when I show up, like, I like eating pussy. Like, I like giving pleasure to other people. So if I can show up on set and make that happen, that's awesome. But like, some girls eat pussy like they're tasting something bad that they're being forced to taste. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I know, right? Because you got to still like pretend.
Sell it.
And then there was this one female performer that does a lot of girl who, like, everybody in the industry knows she doesn't like girls, and of course we're not going to call her out. But she licks the side of your vagina, so like you can't even do close-ups really because it's like obvious that she's not doing it. I mean, I get it, if you're not into girls, you're not into girls, but it's like maybe do something.
Maybe don't do girl,
right?
Like, it's okay.
But there's that weird stigma where it's like more acceptable to do girl than boy,
which is ridiculous.
Honestly. Yeah, I mean the stigma around all sex workers is stupid.
Yeah, of course.
But there's like layers of stigma.
Weird layers, but it's funny because like some of those layers aren't the same for like other people. So it's like no matter what you're doing, whether you're a non-nude cam model who just like wears lingerie or something, all the way up to like maybe like a Twitch streamer who has big cleavage, like so many people have different levels of like what's acceptable, and people should just mind their own fucking business. Like it's not you, it's not affecting you. Just like let it go. What's the big deal?
Yeah, people can't. Well, people always project their own like sexual hangups onto other people. So and nobody sees that more than cam girls, porn stars, anybody basically involved in sex work
people
whatsoever.
Should just have sex and masturbate and be comfortable with it because we're all born naked, and I plan to die naked.
We are. Though in the scene yesterday, you died in a beautiful white dress.
I was buried in a beautiful
dress.
That's
true. Oh, you definitely died naked because you were masturbating.
Who masturbates with the clothes on?
Holly.
I get fully naked, like to go to the bathroom, like to masturbate, like to make coffee. I just like to be naked. We had this conversation. Like, I'm uncomfortable because I'm wearing clothes. And I'm like,
Molly's like, can I please take my clothes off? This is really awkward for me. It's like, unfortunately, YouTube will ban me. But
it's okay.
it's
Safe for work.
Yeah, safe for work.
Like my Instagram.
Another thing that you've lost many times.
Many times. This one, I'm just.
Yeah, I know. It's tricky. Instagram really doesn't like people in the adult industry.
No, they don't. Which is like ridiculous because you have like Cardi B like showing other girls' titties and shit like that on her Instagram story, but like we post in a sweater and they're like, shame.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back. We have some more. We're going to talk about your stalker experience, which is kind of crazy and scary. What dating is like in the industry. And what are my other notes? I got with some other things. We'll see what we get to. We'll be right back. Bathroom? Do you want to use it? Okay. You know where it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I might need that key again.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, it's out on the desk again.
Yeah, don't give it to me because apparently I just lose it all the time. Just a FYI, we're still live when you come back, which is fine. Whoa, I'm going to trip over this thing, but don't come back in here and be like, Holly, I hate blah, blah, blah.
Holly, I hate him.
Well, now everybody knows. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to check my ad schedule real quick. I'm pretty sure we only need to do one ad break.
Okay.
But I just want to double check.
This is looking good, by the way.
Yay!
The cameras come in.
What the hell is the date today? February 13th. So, oh wait, no, hers is coming out. Mm-hmm.
Choose the battery.
Okay. Fuck, I have to do another commercial. I have to do another episode on the 28th. I mean, I could do 2 commercials, but I'm just worried about.
I would just like to reiterate, I hate ham.
Do you really hate ham?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gross.
I don't like pork, but I'm okay with ham. Isn't that weird?
I just don't like I don't know. It's gross. I like bacon though.
Bacon's so good. Bacon is I feel bad about like bacon. I feel like sometimes I like want to be vegan, but I'm like bacon. Bacon.
Could never be vegan. I love meat
so
too
good.
much.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it because I only do girl.
Well, I mean, you're eating roast beef. Sorry.
Ironically, roast beef is one of my favorite deli meats. Am I allowed to take a selfie in here?
Absolutely.
Like a basic bitch?
The basic bitch selfie.
Ugh, God, I'm ugly.
Why don't men have that complex? Men always look at themselves and like, I look good. Ernie's like, yeah.
It's true. It's really,
We're always like, we're so ugly.
I'm so ugly.
Life is ugly.
So many cool things on your walls.
I didn't pick any of this shit. I hate all the art on this walls.
Subject.
It's just so many things.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of things. They're all shit.
I
I didn't decorate this office. So like people are always like, "Oh, I love your artwork." I'm like, "It's not mine. I didn't do it."
I would never choose this in a million years.
It's like when people credit me for shooting somebody else's photos. I'm like, "Do you see how there's no backlight in that photo?
Do you
I
see
didn't
how her
fucking
toes
shoot
are
it."
pointed?
Oh my god, do you think that I would shoot a girl with her hands like that? Go fuck yourself. I get like that. I get very mad. Someone did that just this morning. I'm like, there's no backlight on her. Of course I didn't shoot it. Do you see how she just blends into the background and it just looks lazy? I would never. Jesus Christ, what do you think about me? What are you thinking? Do you mind if I ask you like a kind of, I don't know if it's a controversial question, but like, what would you say to people who say like porn is degrading to women?
Oh yeah, you can ask me that.
Okay. I have a whole spiel about that, but this is about you, not about what I think. I say what I think often, a little too much sometimes. People think. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. All right, so we're back. So the adult industry is not always fun and games. It doesn't always attract people with healthy boundaries. And you experienced a pretty crazy stalker experience that you actually wrote an article about, right? For XBiz. And I think cam girls tend to be subject to more stalker experiences because the viewers feel a more personal connection with them just because of the nature of the job.
Yes.
So can you tell us about what happened to you?
I think that especially with cam, like you said, like there's always that more personal interaction, and for a lot of people who are especially like consistent webcam models, you're typically there every day.
Mm-hmm.
You may take a couple days off here and there, but these are people who they see you every day, they talk to you every day. Once you like can feel like you can build up a point where you can trust them, like sometimes you'll give them like they'll tip you for like your phone number or your Snapchat, and then there's just all the different social media, like, so no matter even if you're online or not, they always have access to you in some way or another. It's kind of, I've described it before as like having like hundreds of like different boyfriends, like, but that you don't like.
Oh my god, just having
do
one is
anything with.
exhausting
I
enough.
know, right? But it's like, I think that can breed this level of like dependency on their side, whether you feel that way or not. Because like for us, we show up and it's a job, and I have friends that I've made, but there always has to be that separation, and that's what I've always made very clear. Like, this is my job. Like, we can be friends and friendly, but like it doesn't go further than that. I'm not here to date anyone or to fuck anyone. I'm not gonna marry any of you. Like, I don't reach into your wallet. I don't swipe your credit card. I don't make you do anything. You can make me do things with your tips, but only what I'm comfortable with.
Right. But you're still setting boundaries with
that.
But
I think that there's always that mentality, especially with the people who spend a lot of money and time on the site. There's one thing for just spending time, but there's another when there's money involved, especially to the level that this particular individual had with me. If I just give her this that she wanted, if I just tip this, if I spend this amount, then maybe she'll change her mind. Maybe she'll want me. And they lose the point where they can hear what you're saying, and they just put in what they want to hear, because they think, well, I have this power over her because I've made her do this for this amount of money before I've made her do this. Like, and it becomes this level of like control. And once you recognize that as a cam model, like, oh, this person, like, I've literally changed who I am as a performer to basically continue having that level of contribution, I guess, because it's like it can get to a point where like you don't reply to a message or like a text or something, or you tell them off for something that made you uncomfortable, then they'll start to like withhold tokens and stuff like that, which, considering it's your job, like that's what you rely on. So it's hard to have that separation, to be like, I have to be my own person and I have to really set these boundaries and make sure that they understand. And at some point, if you've set those boundaries and they continue to cross them, you have to cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
But once they don't have that object of their obsession,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, they lash out. So that's what happened in this particular situation. He bought my legal name off of a cam girl that I had worked with back when I wasn't aware of the fact that you really can't even trust the people that you work with.
Wow.
You know,
I hear a lot about this because, you know, one of my really good friends is Bailey Rain, who cams a lot, and like some of the backstabbing and the betrayal by cam girls to other cam girls is like really brutal.
And it's ridiculous, and it's not something that I ever thought would happen. And like I mentioned, I was homeschooled, so I never really had like a lot of friends. And then especially going into a job that kind of alienates you from vanilla civilians, you know, like I had told friends in the past, like, oh, I'm a webcam girl, and they just like stopped talking to me. And it's like, you don't even know like what it is, but you chose to, you know, whatever. So I thought, well, I can make friends with people who are in my job, because we all understand like
each other.
Members can be scary. We can understand that it's hard to like do all these things. And I guess I was just far too trusting because I was young and naive and I had no idea. He found one of the addresses that I lived at in California by doing image searches, I guess. And he found the original listing for the rental, like on Zillow and like all this kind of stuff. And it was just really uncomfortable and weird. But
did he show up there, or did he like?
He didn't show up there.
But
no.
he let you know that he knew where you lived.
He let one of my other members know, who ended up showing me like the messages and was like, he said he found it by accident, and I'm like,
no, I don't think so.
But he was also my big tipper, and so I didn't really address it. And I was moving anyway, so I was just like, oh, well, you know, maybe it was an accident. And I just, like, let myself convince that. And I was like, every little thing that he did, whether it was, like, saying something degrading or he would say degrading things about the other girls that I worked with, or be like, it got to the point where he used to be normal. And then it was like, I don't even want you doing girl shows anymore. Like, they're not attractive to me. And I get jealous seeing you with other people and all this kind of stuff. And I started to let him kind of dictate what I did in my shows as well as my own life, and it was driving me like nuts. Like I had like a mental breakdown, and I was finally like, I can't do this anymore. Like this isn't, I'm not comfortable. Like you're doing these things purposefully to try to basically hurt me, and I'm not okay with it anymore. And he kind of just went off the wall, and that was AVN 2018, and then AVN 2019. I had a roommate when I first moved down to Vegas, and we kind of had a falling out, which makes me sad, but I can't think of any other way that this same stalker would have gotten that address of that rental. And I'm not saying that she did it. I'm really not. I'm not even going to say her name because I don't know. But I just, at the time, I couldn't think of any other way that he could have found that, you know? Right. And a Twitter account popped up during AVN with the picture of the avatar as the front of my rental, was posting the exact address, telling people that I had a rape fantasy and I wanted people to break into my house and have sex with me, that I'd be having like an orgy party and just like come by like at any time and all this crazy stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I actually flew one of my friends down from Washington to kind of like stay with me and like walk around the convention and stuff with me because I was terrified and I didn't know what to do. And I had contacted the cops previously, but he's in a different state, and they couldn't do anything without arresting him. And it was an anonymous account, and Twitter doesn't release records like that. So there was really no way to effectively protect myself. The cops went to his house and they gave him a warning, but that's all that they could do. And you know, it was one of the gripes that I also had with MFC at the time, because I showed them the police reports, I showed them the accounts. Things were traced back to his member account, and they wouldn't ban him. They were like, it's a he said, she said kind of thing, because you don't actually have physical proof. And I'm like, but look at all the messages that he sent. Look how that correlates to like what's being done. And they wouldn't do anything. And that was at the time that I wanted to take a break from camming. So when I reached out to you about, you know, doing twisties, I wasn't going to quit camming, and I won't. But I needed to have that mental break away from the stress of the members.
That makes a lot of sense.
There were other members who were also just like mentally abusive, things that I like didn't even realize were happening until I basically had that breakdown.
Right.
And I was just like, I can't do this. Like, this is not even who I am anymore. Like, I shouldn't be letting these people affect me just because they're paying me. Like, it shouldn't work like that. And, but then, like, when Twisties offered me that contract, I was like, this is exactly what I need right now. Like, I'll still be able to make money. I can still cam casually and not have to have as big of a focus on there, because there was always this drama coming through, like, in the chat rooms, like, about, like, oh, you're like a whore. I would get messages telling me I should, like, kill myself and all this crazy shit. And, I mean, I couldn't deal with it. So camming is very isolating. So especially when you don't really feel that you can trust anybody. I mean, you spend all that time like in front of a computer screen, like in your bedroom, day in, day out, even shooting content like from home. Like, there was not much social interaction whatsoever. So getting into professionally shooting instead of just shooting at my house was so much better for me, because I met so many people who basically have become really close friends of mine. One of my best friends in the industry is Marcos Rivera. We do a lot of work together. I'm actually living with him right now, which is convenient because we can just shoot all the time. And
yeah, that's cool.
You know, if I do get down or whatever, he's like just get your ass in front of the camera, like make yourself feel pretty. I'll make you look pretty. You'll feel better. Like, let's freaking do this, you know? And he actually worked with me on my first big feature film as well. So, but I've just met so many great producers and talent that have just become really close, and now I actually have people that I can talk to and that I can hang out with, and that there's more than just me and a computer. Yeah. And I don't have to worry that, oh, this person said this about me online, and like, oh, and this and this and this, and just be worried about what these faceless people are saying about me. Because even if I get like upset, like, I have people that I can talk to about it. Right. Instead of just like letting it feed into my own insecurities.
Yeah, and like, that can bring you back into the real world and be like, these people are not real.
They're not real. Yeah. Like, they give you money and their dick's online because they have small dicks or whatever. Like, yeah. So, I mean, it's been a really great experience, and just shooting professionally in general has helped me improve my own content as well. And it's given me a lot more confidence to be like, oh, hey, look, I can actually like, I actually do have social skills. I can talk to people. Like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. You know, this is a really interesting, different perspective for me, because I have so many girls on and we talk about how the industry has changed so much and has put the power of content creation in the hands of the performer, and how camming has empowered women and allowed them to, you know, basically be their own business. But I never thought about how it could turn into a situation where men could still control you, but like in a completely different way.
And it's something that you have to like be aware of, especially if you've never done it before. But even people who've been doing it for a long time, they don't necessarily realize, like, because I'm not the kind of person, like, and I never have been, that would normally let like something like that happened progress so far. But especially it's something that can be really gradual, that you don't really, if you don't know the signs to look for, you don't see it until it's like exploding in your face. Yeah. And so I think that people just need to be really careful, and maybe more, I wouldn't necessarily even say guarded, but just aware of the way that people
aware of the signs of like that kind of psychological manipulation.
You have to have a point where you have to say, like, is the money worth it? Yeah. Is it worth my own mental stability and happiness? Like, is that going to like be fine? Are you going to be okay with like letting someone make you feel like that, who you don't even know, who just pays you to like be their sex object, which I'm fine being, like, I'm fine being paid, but
on your own terms.
Exactly. And I'm not going to let somebody who sees that only that value of me affect how I feel about myself, because I let that happen for far too long, and it put me in like a really, really dark place.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like it's something that everybody goes through in one way or another. I mean, I had a horrible, horrible boyfriend when I was like 22 that was like 11, 12 years older than me, that just treated me so badly. I mean, he was never physically abusive, but like the mental abuse and the manipulation and everything. And I look back at it now and I'm like, how did I let someone treat me like that? That's so crazy. Yeah. But I needed that experience to realize that that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have to go through those really trying times in order to recognize what your boundaries are and how to avoid that. You know, life is never like
life is never easy, and
Yeah.
it's all the trials that we go through that help us develop as people. So like all the bad things that have happened in my past and are still happening, I am thankful for them because it makes me the person who I am, and I'm happy with who I am now, and I wasn't for a very long time. So I think that it's a lot of self-realization, like what do I want out of life, what's going to make me happy, and how can I avoid and cut out the things in my life that are no longer contributing to that.
Right.
Because you can't, something could have perhaps brought you happiness at one point or made you feel secure or good, but those things, everything in life changes. What doesn't change stagnates. So if you still have that thing and it's something that's wearing you down, you need to realize when it's time to just cut your losses and be like, this isn't working for me anymore, and I need to move on for myself.
Right. Yeah, that's really great that you've come to that realization. And I've heard you talk about other, like, more personal things that are going on in your life, and the way that you have like a really, I feel like you have a really good perspective when it comes to things. Like, you seem to be somebody who recognizes that there's only certain things in your life, in the world, that you can control, and the things that you can't control, you need to let go of, because otherwise it just poisons you.
It does. The only thing in life that you can control is yourself.
Yeah.
And
Your
it's
reaction to
something that I
things.
realized far too late in my life, but that's the only thing that you can control. And if things will grow and change with you, then that's great. But if they don't, then it's something that's just going to be like this little toxic spot that just keeps growing inside of you until you're just full of hate and regret and anger. And that will just kill you.
Yeah. They say, what do they say? Like, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Yeah, that's a very, very good saying.
So how did this whole stalker situation end? Like, how did he, I'm assuming he's not stalking you anymore.
I don't know. I just kind of like stopped. Every time an account would pop up, like for a long time, I think I kind of fed into it because I let it like bother me and affect.
Well, it's terrifying. He's posting your address and telling people that you have a rape fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to ignore those things.
It is terrifying. But I did buy a house, and it has 2 guard gates and roaming security. And I made a point to tell everybody that when I bought my house. Like, hey, you can come find me, but there's guards. They'll get you.
Yeah.
And if you show up at my house, I'll cut off your dick.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of like helps stem some things. And then I just kind of stopped addressing all of the trolls. If I saw one, like I'm a very aggressive person. Like I just want to fight when I see something that makes me mad.
Yeah.
So I started just like blocking them or muting them and just like moving on.
Yeah.
And it's like once they don't, what people like that want is your reaction. So if you take away the thing that they're after, they can keep trying for a while, but eventually it loses its luster because all they want is your attention. So if you take that away in whatever form that is, I mean, there's nothing left. Then you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. These people are starved for attention, and anything that they can get negative attention, anything like that, that's what they want.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So you kind of briefly talked about this featurette that you shot, which I know was nominated for an AVN Award, Stepsisters, that you did with Ella Silver, and then you said Marcos shot it. And it's a parody from Step Brothers, right? Which sounds pretty hilarious.
I love it. I should send it to you.
You should send it to me.
It's actually really funny because
my boyfriend loves the movie Step Brothers, so he would probably really enjoy it.
It was a featurette because there was only like there's like a solo scene, a girl scene, and then a softcore boy-girl scene.
Did people get really mad about that because they like thought you were finally doing boy girl and then like you weren't, and then they were pissed?
When I send this to you and you see my scene with Charles Dara,
you might
pee your pants.
I love Charles Dara.
Nobody
He's so great.
on earth masturbated to my boy girl softcore in that at all whatsoever. And if you did, you have some serious mental issues. Like, it was so uncomfortable. Like, it took us so long to shoot. Like, what happened was I didn't even know that I was going to put one in, but then when I was doing all the editing and stringing all the scenes together, I was like, this isn't quite enough, like, time and length. Like, I want to do something, like, ridiculous. Like, I want it to be in line because the whole movie is just hilarious. Like, it's funny. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. And I was like, who can I get to pretend to fuck me? Fucking Charles Dara.
Yeah.
Like, when I first met him, like, he just had me cracking up. I met him.
He's so great.
we did like a Western, and he was like a sheriff or something, and he just was like making me cry laughing, dude. He's so funny. And so I reached out to him, and he literally like flew out like 2 days after I asked him, like last minute. He's like, fuck yeah, like let's fucking shoot this. Like I was like, what do you want me to pay you? He's like, I'm like, well, like you have to tell me something. He's like, nah, man, like money is just a thing, like, you know, fuck the system. I was like, what?
Money. So actually, not to bring it back to my podcast, but if you guys go listen to my episode with Charles Dara, which was very early, it was in like I think it's like episode number 3. He actually talks about how this whole experience that he had where he quit porn for a while and went back to train jiu-jitsu.
He told me about
that. And did he tell you about like how he became really poor and how it was like the best
like
experience for him ever?
Like, lived off of like the charity of others and like just working for stuff and
So I think that brought him a very unique perspective that a lot of us don't have. So I just want to
He's one of like my favorite people that I've met.
He's fantastic. I love him.
But so it was absolutely ridiculous, and we were just all cracking up like the entire way through it. And like I had written out like a funny-ish script, but we were all having so much fun that we just kept like pushing it and pushing, like, how can we make this more ridiculous? Like, and it was so freaking funny. Like everyone that saw it, even the fans who had hang-ups about the fact that I said I shot a scene with Charles Dara, like some of them were getting kind of like bitchy about it. They're like, a scene with a guy.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then I'm like, another example of how like your fans think they own you and your body and your choices.
Yeah. And I'm like, just watch it. And they were like, this is the funniest shit that I've ever seen in a porn. Like, it's ridiculous. I got to rub shaving cream all over him and his giant hanging balls. And it was just, I don't know. You'll just have to see it.
Yeah, I will have to see it. That's one of the wonderful things about shooting porn is that because there's still such a huge market for it, and because you don't need to spend $2 million making, a movie, because you don't need a crew of 30 people and all this ridiculousness that mainstream does. Yeah. You really have the opportunity, especially if you have a fan base like yours, people who are just excited for any content of you. You can really like make whatever you want.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it can be stupid.
Yes.
And so much fun, and people will like it because it's different.
Yeah, and they like it because like I'm weird. Okay, and here's the thing, like when I was a kid I actually had a lisp. I had to go to speech therapy for like 2 years.
Oh wow.
And my character for like the first half of the movie has a lisp, and my hair looks like shit, and I'm wearing like the ugliest clothes whatsoever and like these giant glasses, and like I think they like to see me as just like I'm always like, oh my God, I'm so like glammed up and pretty on set, and I just look like shit.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. Like it was amazing from start to finish. And we shot it in only 2 days, which was ridiculous. We were shooting like 10 o'clock in the morning until like 10:30 at night. Like it was just wild, but it was a great experience, and it kind of like let me in on the little secrets of what I have to do in the future for like something of that level. And it helped me like block stuff out for the next film I shot, which was,
because scheduling is everything.
Oh yeah,
when you're doing something like that.
Yeah, it helped me out when I shot my shorter film with Alex Cole and Xander Corvus, and it was just really fun with that. And it's just so fun to be creative and have these ideas. And like I got so blocked into for a little while thinking like everything has to be different and individual. And then I was going over scene ideas with Marcos, and we were talking about like new content to shoot, and I'm like, I feel like I'm dry, like I'm devoid of ideas right now. And he's like, well, why don't you just make it like a continuation of your vampire thing? And I was like, oh my God, so we can just like turn this into like a little miniseries and just like keep turning more vampires and having vampire sex. Okay, amazing.
Yeah,
like,
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always want everything to be just like different, and I get locked into thinking like, you're so uncreative and everyone hates you, just kill yourself. But there's so much more out there than I think people think, and it's fun to be able to just like express all these ideas and just kind of like see it come out and see people's reaction to the stuff that you make. And that's why I want to definitely get more into producing and directing in the future. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when people give you angel wings to shoot with.
Challenges.
Hey, challenges. I welcome them all. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Molly. This was really fun. Do you mind hanging around for like 10 minutes afterwards? We can do like a quick Q&A for my Patreon members because people actually sent me questions for you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And I'll do that as a bonus for my Patreon members. So if you're not a member of my Patreon, you should join patreon.com/HollyRandallUnfiltered. Support this podcast. Listen to extra exclusive stuff with this beautiful lady right here. But before we sign off on this episode, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at thisredheadissfw, hoping I don't get banned, and on Twitter at callmemissmolly.
Perfect. And you guys, as always, can follow me on Instagram at Holly Randall, Twitter at Holly Randall. Don't forget, I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/Holly Randall Unfiltered. And of course, my YouTube channel, which, by the way, recently hit 2 million views a month, which is so crazy. So thank you to everybody who visits me there and subscribe because that is, I update it all the time, like at least 3 times a week. So I'm hopefully going to get monetized soon, which sucks for you guys because then you're going to see ads, but it's better for me because then I make more money. Yes. Yes, I need more money. Okay. So that's youtube.com/Holly Randall Unfiltered, by the way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Awesome. Okay, let me pull my question.